Dromedary camel. The dromedary camel is one of two kinds of camels, which are large ruminants native to the desert regions of Asia and northern Africa. The dromedary, or Arabian camel, has one hump, and the Bactrian camel, the other kind of camel, has two humps. The humps are stores of flesh and fat, absorbed as nutrition when food is scarce. A camel can subsist without water for several days. The dromedary camel usually stands 2 meters tall at the shoulders. The hump rises about 30 centimeters above the back. The Bactrian camel has slightly shorter legs, is about 1.9 meters in height at the shoulders, but usually has a heavier torso than the dromedary. Both types of camels have been domesticated since ancient times. The dromedary camel, unknown in the wild state, is found from northwestern India and the lowlands of Afghanistan to the extremity of the Arabian Peninsula and Somalia to the south and westward across the African deserts. Attempts have been made to introduce the species into Spain, Zanzibar, and the southwestern United States, but without lasting success. In Australia, a population of about 25,000 feral dromedary camels still remains from an introduction that took place from 1840 to 1907. The dromedary camel is adapted to subsistence in the desert by its structural qualities and by its ability to bite off and consume the thorny plants that grow there. Thick, broad sole pads and thick callosities on the joints of the legs and on the chest, upon which it rests in a kneeling position, enable it to withstand the heat of the desert sand. Moreover, its nostrils may be closed against flying dust, and its eyes are shielded by very long eyelashes. The endurance and strength of the camel have made it a valuable beast of burden. The dromedary camel, generally used as a saddle animal, can cover more than 161 kilograms in a day. The flesh and milk of the camel are used as food and the hide for leather. The long hair, shed every summer, is made into cordage, fine paint brushes, and a light, warm, long-napped cloth. Common peafowl. Peafowl, or peacock, is a common name for 3 members of the pheasant family. Although these birds are more commonly called peacocks, that name is properly applied only to males. Females are called peahens. 2 species are Asian, the common or Indian peafowl, and the green peafowl. The third species, the Congo peafowl, is known only from the forests of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Asian peacocks are noted for their resplendent trains of long upper tail coverts, which conceal their relatively short tails, and are raised and spread in strutting displays. The feathers are generally iridescent green and gold and are ornamented with eye-like markings of a rich color, known as peacock blue. The same blue also appears on the head, neck, breast, and crest of the common peacock. In the green peacock the head, neck, and underparts are green. The peahens have no trains and are less colorful than the males. Peafowl build their nests on the ground or in the low branches of trees. The birds subsist on an omnivorous diet of worms, insects, small snakes, and seeds. The common peafowl has been domesticated in many parts of the world, and there are feral populations in the Hawaiian Islands. A white variety has been produced by selective breeding. Moose. Moose is a common name for the largest member of the deer family. The name moose, given by the Algonquin, a native North American tribe, means eater of twigs, reflecting the animal's primary diet of leaves and twigs. Moose are referred to as elk in Europe and Asia, where they inhabit the forests of northern Asia and Europe from Siberia in the east to Norway in the west, the Baltic region, and northern China. In North America, moose are found in wooded areas of Canada and the northern United States. The deer known in North America as elk is also called wapiti. Moose are huge animals, with males, known as bulls, standing up to 2 meters at the shoulder. Some bulls weigh more than 726 kilograms. Their characteristically long legs enable them to both browse on low bushes and small trees and wade in lakes and ponds to feed on aquatic plants. Once in the water, moose move easily and are powerful swimmers. The head of the moose is large with an overhanging upper lip, or muzzle. A drooping growth of hair and skin, called a bell, hangs from the throat. The large, constantly moving ears of the moose act like radar, providing excellent hearing. A large shoulder hump is formed by the upward projections from neck vertebrae. Strong ligaments, which are necessary to hold the large head erect, are attached to these upward projections. The body color of the moose is generally brownish-black, with the face lightening to a brown color in the summer. The face of bulls darkens to a dark brown or black color as the breeding season approaches. Prominent features of bulls are the enormous antlers with marginal prongs, or tines, which can exceed 1.5 meters in width and 22.7 kilograms in weight. Antlers are covered with a soffit, nutrient-rich skin called velvet, which is shed in early September and often eaten by bulls. Antlers themselves are shed each year after the mating season, which generally is in late September. Older bulls shed their antlers in December, and by the end of January most bulls have shed their antlers. Occasionally, some young ones will carry antlers into February. New antlers begin to grow in early April. Moose generally are solitary animals, although they may band in small groups of up to a dozen or more during the breeding season, especially in Canada's Yukon Territory and Alaska. Both females and males are capable of mating in their second year of life. During mating, bulls battle for the female moose, or cows, engaging in anti-air fights with other males. A feeder mating gestation is around 230 days, with most calves born near the end of May. Cows usually bear one offspring, although twins are common and births of 3 or 4 calves have also been observed. Calves have reddish-brown coats and weigh 11 to 16 kilograms at birth. The average lifespan of moose is about 5 to 6 years, although some moose can live as long as 20 years. The age of a moose is determined by examining the root portion of the middle incisor teeth, which show a pattern of rings. Just as a tree's growth rings reveal its age, the dark ring in a moose's middle incisor combined with a light ring accounts for each year of age. Moose feeding habits vary with the seasons. During the fall, winter, and spring, they feed on the previous summer's growth of aspen, black poplar, willow, birch, hazel, dogwood, and balsam fir. In late spring and early summer, moose lick natural sate deposits, found in salt springs or roadside runoff to replenish their mineral reserves used up over winter. In summer, moose prefer vegetation that grows in water, and they can submerge for up to 40 seconds to reach plants beneath the water's surface. Despite their size and ability to attain running speeds of up to 58 km per hour for short distances, moose fely prey to wolves and black and grizzly bears. Some studies have shown that bears can kill up to 75% of newborns in their first 8 weeks of life. Another threat to moose is the winter tick. Tick infestations irritate the moose's skin, causing the moose to rub off portions of the hair they depend on for protection from the extreme winter cold, which typifies much of their habitat. Severe winters combined with heavy tick infestations can reduce moose populations as much as 50%. Thompson's gazelle. The Thompson's gazelle, which is 61 centimeters tall, migrates between the African forests and the steppe. After the rains, it feeds on the fresh green grasses of the Serengeti plain. Though usually found in herds of 20 or so, the gazelle will mass in the thousands for up to a few days. Its 30 centimeters, S-shaped horns offer some protection from predators, but its real defense is to flee. Greater flamingo. The greater flamingo is the largest species of flamingo. Flamingo is the common name for the 4 species of a family of birds having exceptionally long legs and long, highly flexible necks. Their relationship to other birds is uncertain. Some evidence allies them with the herons and ibises, some with the ducks and geese, and there is fossil evidence suggesting a relationship to shorebirds. Their bills bend abruptly downward about midway, the upper mandible is narrow, and fits into the lower like the lid of a box. When they feed, flamingos dip the head underwater and scoop backward with the head upside down. The edges of the bill have tiny narrow transverse plates called lamellae. The large fleshy tongue pressing against the inside of the bill strains the water out through the lamellae, leaving behind the small invertebrates and the vegetable matter upon which the bird feeds. The greater flamingo has 2 rather different subspecies, one vivid red and the other paler. The first of these breeds in the Caribbean area, from Yucatan and the West Indies to the coast of northeastern South America. It breeds well in captivity, and the occasional flamingo seen north of Florida probably escaped from a zoo. The paler flamingo inhabits Eurasia, in the Mediterranean area and Africa, east to India. Males of both subspecies may reach 155 centimeters in height. The greater flamingo breeds in standing water or on low islands in shallow ponds, saitpans, and lagoons, building a conical mound of mud topped by a slight depression in which the one egg is laid. The young are fed on regurgitated food for as long as 75 days, although they can feed for themselves after about 30 days. Emperor penguin. The emperor penguin is one of only two penguin species that live on the frozen Antarctic continent. Penguin is the common name for 17 species of flightless seabirds widely distributed in cooler waters and along coastlines in the southern hemisphere. Skilled swimmers, penguins have streamlined, barrel-like bodies that reduce drag in the water. Their wings, modified to form thin, stiff flippers, provide propulsion while swimming. Unlike the bones of other birds, penguin bones are solid, not hollow, which helps them remain submerged underwater. On land, penguins have a waddling gait due to their short, thick legs set far back on the body. Penguins come ashore to breed, but they are, in fact, true marine animals, spending as much as 80% of their lives underwater. Gemsbok. Gemsbok is the common name for the largest and best known of the three species of oryx, or straight-horned antelope. Herds of 10 or more gemsbok are still seen in southwestern Africa, their sandy gray flanks nearly invisible against the desert and brushland habitat. Both sexes have sharply pointed horns that extend up to about 1.5 meters. The gemsbok stands up to 140 centimeters high at the shoulder and has a horse-like posture in gallop. The horns are lowered parallel to the ground and the animals lunge with great accuracy when holding off lions and other predators. They are also swift runners that can outpace a horse or a pack of African hunting dogs. Gemsbok can survive dry seasons by eating melons and plant bulbs. Their long horns and striking facial markings have made them prized hunting trophies. Ibex. Ibex is the common name for three species of wild goats characterized by enormous, back-curving horns, which in the male measure from 70 to 140 centimeters, the horns of the female are shorter. The representative alpine ibex stands 65 to 105 centimeters high, varies seasonally from reddish-brown to brownish-gray, and associates in bachelor groups and in herds of 10 to 20 females. It is found in craggy terrain between the timber and snow lines of the Alps. Male and female herds join only during the mating season. The alpine ibex is remarkably sure-footed and is known for its agility in leaping about rocky ledges. Alpine ibexes have been severely hunted and are now protected. Other ibexes that are threatened with extinction are the Ethiopian ibex and the Spanish ibex of the Iberian Peninsula. Common zebra. The zebra, a member of the horse family, has an eye-catching coat of black and white stripes. Zebras are found only in Africa, but their remarkable markings make them among the most familiar mammals in the world. There are three species of zebras, each with a distinctive stripe pattern: Grevy's zebra, the mountain zebra, and the plains zebra. It is also known as Burchell's zebra. Zebras are members of the family Equidae, which also includes horses and asses. The earliest known ancestor of the animals in this family was a small animal called Hyracotherium, more commonly known as Eohippus, which lived 60 million years ago, during the Pleistocene epoch. Direct ancestors of the modern horse, ass, and zebra appeared in Europe, Africa, and Asia about 4 million years ago, during the Pliocene epoch. Like other members of the horse family, zebras are primarily grazing animals, feeding on coarse grass. Zebras face many predators, particularly lions and hyenas, but over the last 200 years humans have posed a greater threat to their survival. The quagga, a zebra with stripes on its head and neck, but often none on its sides and hindquarters, lived in southern Africa until the 1870s, when it was hunted to extinction. Today, both Grevy's zebra and the mountain zebra are endangered by hunting and habitat loss. Nile crocodile. Crocodile is the common name for any of a number of reptiles in a family of the crocodilian order. The term crocodilian refers to all members of the order, which includes alligators, caimans, and gavials as well as crocodiles. One of the largest reptiles on the earth today, the crocodile is also one of the most ferocious. It swallows many small animals whole but will also attack humans and other large animals, often batting them with its tail into a nearby pool of water to make them easier to capture. Crocodiles can close off their nasal passages in the water, allowing them to seize food without drowning. They are immensely strong and may dismember larger prey by simply twisting it to death in the water. The Nile crocodile is one of the best known of the 12 species of crocodile. The Nile crocodile is the largest predator in Africa, growing up to 20 feet in length and weighing up to a metric ton. It lurks around water holes and prowls rivers and canals in search of game, taking nearly any animal it can grasp, drown, and swallow, including humans. Found throughout subtropical and tropical Africa and Madagascar, adults are uniformly colored, juveniles are speckled. This crocodile was once numerous in the Nile and elsewhere, but its numbers have declined since World War II because of loss of habitat, hunting, and nesting site disturbance by humans. The Nile crocodile was revered by certain ancient Egyptian sects, and mummies of crocodiles have been discovered in Egyptian tombs. In modern times, this species has been hunted so extensively that few individuals remain in the lower Nile, but they are still abundant in the upper Nile and southward in Africa to the Cape of Good Hope. Crocodiles are physiologically the most advanced reptiles. Their internal anatomy resembles that of birds. They have a four-chambered heart and well-developed senses. Cold-blooded like all reptiles, their body temperature depends on the environment. Crocodilians bury themselves in mud to estivate or hibernate. In warm regions they are dormant during droughts, in colder regions, during winter. Crocodile eggs are used for food in some parts of the world. The skin is highly valued for leather, and the extract from the musk glands is used in the manufacture of perfumes. Ostrich. Ostrich is the common name for a large, flightless bird. Now found only in Africa, fossils indicate that the ostrich once also lived throughout Europe and Asia. Ostriches are the largest and strongest of living birds, attaining a height from crown to foot of about 2.4 meters and a weight of up to 136 kilograms. They have long necks and small heads, with large eyes and short, broad beaks. They spread their small wings when running and have long, powerful legs that are used for defense. The feet have only 2 toes. Male ostriches are black, with white wings and tail. The white feathers of the male, which are large and soft, are the ostrich plumes of commercial value. The female is a dull grayish-brown. Ostriches are rapid runners and can attain about 65 kilometers per hour. The males are polygamous and travel about in hot, sandy areas with 3 or 4 females, or in groups of 4 or 5 males accompanied by mates and young. The females lay their yellowish-white eggs together in a single large depression in the sand. The eggs weigh about 1.4 kilograms each and have a volume of about 1.4 liters. The male sits on them at night, and the female incubates them by day. In the last half of the 19th century, ostrich farming, or the breeding of domesticated ostriches for their plumes, was carried on extensively in South Africa, Algeria, Australia, France, and the United States. Ostrich plumes were used in hat-making and dressmaking. Farming declined as the demand for ostrich plumes became almost negligible. However, the introduction of ostrich hide as a luxury leather has renewed interest in ostrich farming. The so-called American ostrich is actually a rhea. Jaguar. The jaguar is largest and most powerful of the American members of the cat family. The jaguar is found from the southern United States to northern Argentina, but it is especially abundant in the dense forests of Central America and Brazil. A mature jaguar is 112 to 185 centimeters long, not including the tail, which is 45 to 75 centimeters in length, and stands 60 centimeters high at the shoulder. Its coat is a rich yellow to rusty red, and occasionally black, spotted with large black rosettes, each consisting of a circle of spots surrounding a central spot. The head and body are massive, and the legs are relatively short and thick. An adept climber and an excellent swimmer, the animal feeds on a wide range of arboreal, terrestrial, and aquatic animals. Although feared, the jaguar rarely attacks humans. In the pre-Columbian civilizations of Peru and Central America, it was worshipped as a god. Today the jaguar is extensively hunted because of ranchers' claims that it attacks cattle, although studies indicate that such attacks are infrequent. Jaguars appear to mate in any season, although in some areas they may mate seasonally. After a gestation period of 93 to 105 days, the female bears 1 to 4 cubs, which remain with the mother until about the age of 2. Jaguars have lived up to 22 years in captivity. Red kangaroo. The red kangaroo is among the largest members of the kangaroo family. Kangaroo is the common name for a group of mammals found in Australia and neighboring islands. Kangaroos are marsupials, a type of mammal that gives birth to undeveloped young. In kangaroos and many other marsupials, the young are carried and nurtured in a special pouch on the mother's body. In Australia, the red kangaroo has increased in numbers in response to people. Sheep ranchers favor this largest of the continent's native mammals by converting woodlands to grassland, providing sources of permanent water, and fencing out or killing the dingo. Even though it may be persecuted by these same ranchers as a competitor of their livestock, the red kangaroo has benefited overall, and its population stands in the millions. Okapi. The okapi, or forest giraffe, is a member of the giraffe family found in the inaccessible rainforests of northeastern Democratic Republic of the Congo and western Uganda. The okapi lives a secluded life and it was not discovered until 1900. It is considered rare, but too little information exists about the okapi to classify it as threatened or endangered. The short, stout body of the okapi ranges from 150 to 170 centimeters high at the shoulders and 200 to 213 centimeters in length, with a tail 30 to 42 centimeters long that ends in a tuft. It weighs 210 to 250 kilograms. The male has two small, skin-covered bony knobs on its forehead. The okapi has a long, flexible blue-black tongue that it uses to rip leaves from branches. It has large, dark eyes and large, white ears. The short, soft hair is reddish-brown to black with large, white stripes on the front legs and flanks. Little is known about the okapi in the wild. The animal visually blends into its surroundings. It feeds during the day, as well as just before dawn and after sunset. Each male generally inhabits a territory of about 6 square kilograms. Although the okapi may travel in small family groups, this reclusive animal usually lives alone, except when mating. After mating, the female lives in isolation until she gives birth to one calf 14 to 15 months later. Hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is an African mammal that lives partly in water and partly on land. There are two species of hippopotamuses. The smaller species, called the pygmy hippo, stands barely waist-high to an adult human. Its bigger relative known as the river or common hippopotamus or, simply, hippopotamus is one of the world's largest and heaviest land animals, weighing up to about 4,000 kilograms. Although strictly a plant eater, the hippopotamus has massive jaws with formidable tusks. The animal has an unpredictable temperament and is capable of biting through small boats and slicing crocodiles in two. The word hippopotamus comes from two Greek words that mean river horse. While hippos do live in rivers, they differ from horses in being artiodactyls, mammals with an even number of hoofed toes on each foot. There is also very little about their shape that is horse-like. Both species of hippos have barrel-shaped bodies, stocky legs, and smooth, almost hairless skin. Their heads appear outsized and their mouths look unusually broad. Hippopotamuses are not as numerous as they once were, but they can still have a major impact on the landscape of the areas they inhabit. In some parts of Africa, river hippos trample riverbanks and lochshores, creating a maze of waterside paths and wallows that they use to get access to the plants they eat. Hippos spend their days lazing in or near water, emerging after dark to feed. Reticulated giraffe. The reticulated giraffe is one of the most striking subspecies of the giraffe, the tallest living animal, which is instantly recognizable by its exceptionally long neck. Male giraffes average about 5.3 meters high, but some grow to a height of almost 6 meters tall, enough to span 2 floors of a typical office building. Giraffes live in tree-scattered terrain in Africa. Female giraffes give birth in one of several specific calving areas in their home ranges, returning to these grounds to bear subsequent calves even if the larger home range has drifted geographically. Strong and well-developed at birth, calves nonetheless frequently fall to predators in their first year of life. After weaning, females stay within their mother's territories, while males leave the range in all male groups. Once a dominance hierarchy has been established among them, they wander alone in their own small ranges in search of females in heat. The sex of a grazing giraffe can be determined at a great distance with considerable accuracy. Almost invariably, males feed with their necks and often their tongues completely outstretched to reach the foliage of very tall trees. In contrast, females bend their heads over the tops of smaller trees. The giraffe is the better known of two species in the giraffe family. The other species is the okapi, an animal that was not even discovered by scientists until about 1900. Although much shorter than the giraffe, the okapi also has a long neck and eats leaves, and both animals have long tongues and skin-covered horns. The giraffe's ancestors first appeared in Central Asia about 15 million years ago, but the earliest fossil records of the giraffe itself, from Israel and Africa, date back about 1.5 million years.
Lion. The lion is one of the largest members of the cat family.
The lion's size and strength have captured human imagination since ancient times, giving these animals the nickname King of Beasts.
Lions are also known for their mighty roar, a fearsome sound that can be heard by humans more than 8 kilograms away. Lions once ranged over vast areas on many continents.
Fossil evidence shows that until about 10,000 years ago, lions lived throughout Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and into Asia as far as southern India and the island of Sri Lanka. They also lived in North America and northern South America.
Since then, however, the lion's range has been shrinking steadily.
Human hunters have killed countless numbers of lions as well as the hoofed mammals that lions eat. In many places, people have taken over the lion's habitats, which often are good places to farm and raise cattle. These habitats include grassy plains, savannas, and dry woodlands, but never thick forests or jungle.
Today, lions are found in the wild in only 2 places on Earth.
About 100,000 lions survive in Africa south of the Sahara Desert. Another 300 lions, called Asian lions, live in a reserve called the Gir National Park and Lion Sanctuary in northwest India.
In both places, lions continue to be threatened by human activities.
Thousands of lions also live in zoos and circuses around the world.
Cheetah. The cheetah is a member of the cat family and one of the fastest land animals in the world.
A cheetah can accelerate to a running speed of 93 km per hour in just 2 to 3 seconds, sustaining that speed for up to 300 meters. Until about 100 years ago, cheetahs were found in open habitats throughout Africa, the Middle East, and Southwest Asia as far as central India. Excessive hunting and habitat destruction have reduced the cheetah's range to isolated parts of Africa south of the Sahara, where around 10,000 cheetahs now live.
Fewer than 100 cheetahs remain in remote areas of Iran.
Until recently, this fastest of land mammals dashed after its prey across savannas and semi-deserts throughout Africa and Western and Central Asia. Now the cheetah, Acinonyx jubatus, verges on extinction in Asia and is dwindling in much of Africa.
Why?
Some biologists believe today's cheetahs are simply too inbred to thrive, being descended from a few survivors of a crisis that almost wiped the species out some 10,000 years ago. But other scientists dispute this bottleneck theory and maintain that the genetic uniformity of the cheetah has not led to any constitutional weakness. The real agents behind the decline of the species, they say, are the ranchers and farmers who persecute cheetahs as vermin and encroach on their remaining habitat. Scientists classify the cheetah in its own genus because of its physical distinctiveness from other cats, although genetic studies suggest that the cheetah may share a common ancestor with the North American puma.
Fossil evidence shows that cheetahs may have originated in North America as early as 3 million years ago and then spread into Eurasia and Africa.
Scientists theorize that around 12,000 years ago a significant climate change caused a rapid decline in the cheetah population, with only a small group of cheetahs surviving in Eurasia. Inbreeding likely occurred as this tiny population slowly grew over generations. As a result of this inbreeding, today's cheetahs lack genetic variation, which may make them less able to adapt to changes in the environment, such as infectious disease or a climate change. Overhunting and habitat destruction place cheetahs at high risk for extinction.
Farmers often kill cheetahs to prevent them from threatening their livestock.
Scientists have developed breeding programs intended to provide insurance against their extinction in the wild, and they are working with local communities in Africa to reduce conflicts between people and cheetahs. Scientists primarily study cheetahs in the wild by using radio tracking, in which a collar with a radio transmitter attached is placed around the neck of a cheetah.
Scientists monitor the radio transmissions as the cheetah travels in order to track the cat's whereabouts and learn about its life history and behaviors.
Some scientists also keep a photographic archive of individuals within a population. They are able to distinguish one cheetah from another by a distinctive pattern of rings on the tail. This photographic record helps scientists monitor individual cheetahs over the course of their lives.
American beaver. The beaver is a semi-aquatic rodent noted for the building of dams.
There are only two kinds of beavers, the American beaver and the Eurasian beaver. The two species share similar behavior and anatomy, although they have some small physical differences, such as the shape of the nasal bones. They are large rodents. The average adult beaver weighs about 16 kilograms, but specimens as heavy as 40 kilograms have been found, and some extinct beavers were almost bear-like in size. The North American beaver is widely known for its habit of building dams and for its closely knit family units. The construction of the dam produces a small to moderate-sized beaver pond that helps to increase the biological diversity of the surrounding area as well as conserve water and maintain water flow.
Ring-tailed lemur.
The ring-tailed lemur is found only on the island of Madagascar and the nearby islands of Comoros. Adults of this species grow to 38 to 43 centimeters in length and can reach weights of nearly 4 kilograms. Their habitat ranges from tropical deciduous forest to semi-desert, and they are comfortable both on the ground and climbing trees. This fox-faced primate lives in a group of 10 to 20 or more of its fellows. In contrast to other more arboreal lemurs, the ringtail, lemur cata, spends much of its time on the ground. It inhabits the woodlands and forests of southwest Madagascar, where it subsists largely on wild figs and other fruits.
Polar bear.
Polar bear is the common name for a white bear found on the sea ice of the Arctic throughout the North Polar Basin. The only marine bear, it is longer than other bears and streamlined for aquatic life. It has the plantigrade feet typical of bears, with 5 sharp, curved claws on each foot for grasping the ice and holding its prey.
Long hair between the pads protects the bear's feet from the cold and provides traction on the ice.
Stiff hairs on the forelegs, and very broad front feet, help the bear swim. All polar bears are white, although their fur may yellow in the summer.
The largest wild bears ever weighed more than 800 kilograms have been polar bears.
However, most male polar bears weigh an average of about 350 kilograms, and most females weigh about 250 kilograms. Polar bears have a strong navigational sense, an extremely good sense of smell, and they are unusually clever at solving problems in order to obtain food. They eat primarily ringed seals, and occasionally bearded seals, walruses, or white whales. They also feed on berries, sedges, mussels, and kelp. As with other true bears, polar bear mothers and young form strong bonds.
The young are very small when born, about 1 kilogram.
Their eyes remain closed for about 40 days and they must nurse every few hours. The mother holds them close to keep them warm.
Except during the breeding season, male polar bears are solitary and roam over vast expanses of sea ice while hunting.
During the breeding season from May to June, the males fight furiously over females. Both the male and female may mate with other individuals as well. Polar bears have little interest in other Arctic species, and they often ignore people entirely. Polar bears are hunted extensively in Canada and Greenland, and less so in Russia and Alaska. They are protected in Svalbard, Norway. Polar bear populations are relatively secure because few people share their habitat, but shipping and offshore drilling for oil threaten their status.
Black rhinoceros. Rhinoceros is the common name for 5 species of enormous mammals with 1 or 2 horns projecting from their snouts.
Rhinos are among the biggest and heaviest land animals alive today, exceeded in size only by the elephant and the hippopotamus. They have thick, pillar-like legs, with 3 toes covered with broad, hoof-like nails.
Rhinos are legendary for their poor eyesight, but their senses of smell and hearing are acute.
Although they look clumsy, rhinos can swivel around rapidly to face danger, and if threatened, can charge at speeds of up to 50 kilometers per hour. Relatively fearless and unpredictable, the immense black rhinoceros will charge people or animals, usually stopping just before impact. The largest black rhinos weigh 1.3 metric tons and are 9.8 feet tall. They have 2 horns on their snouts, and in some black rhinos, the larger, front horn extends 32 inches. Used to make dagger handles in Yemen and medicines and aphrodisiacs in East Asia, a single rhino horn can bring thousands of dollars on the black market. Consequently, the black rhinoceros and its close relative, the white rhinoceros, have been hunted nearly to extinction. Black rhinos once ranged throughout Africa south of the Sahara but are now restricted to parks scattered throughout the range. To prevent inbreeding and to ensure the survival of the species, park personnel truck rhinos between isolated reserves for mating. Grizzly bear. The grizzly bear is one of several subspecies of the brown bear, the widest ranging of all bear species. Although the name grizzly bear is sometimes used to refer to all brown bears, grizzly actually refers to one subspecies in the northwestern interior of North America. Members of the subspecies that range throughout coastal Alaska and western Canada are known as Alaskan bears. Those on Alaska's Kodiak archipelago are called Kodiak bears. On the Eurasian landmass, brown bears extend from Norway to the Siberian Peninsula and as far south as Greece and Iraq. Brown bears have large, plantigrade feet and 5 long claws on their front paws to aid in digging. They may be almost black or very light beige. A few brown bears are pure white. The grizzly bear has deep chocolate brown fur with silver tips. The Kodiak bear is uniformly brown and usually has a ruff of longer hair that makes the head look larger. Brown bears, along with polar bears, are the largest of the bear species. Brown bears range in weight from 90 to 800 kilograms, and adult males generally weigh more than adult females. Kodiak bears, which often feed on salmon, can weigh more than 700 kilograms. Grizzly bears, with a diet of berries, vegetation, and small mammals, are smaller than Kodiak bears. Depending on habitat, the average weight of grizzlies varies from 150 to 360 kilograms in Alaska and British Columbia, 95 to 139 kilograms in the Yukon Territory, and 102 to 324 kilograms in Yellowstone National Park. Males and females are together only during the breeding season from May to June, but family groups may stay together for 2 to 3 years. Brown bears generally inhabit open areas, including the plains and the tundra. They may remain dormant without eating for up to 7 months, usually at high elevations in dens or caves. During this dormant period, they are lethargic and less sensitive to danger. Their temperature declines only slightly, but their respiration and heart rate drop dramatically. When active, they eat enormous amounts of fish, berries, and succulent plants, sometimes consuming 40 kilograms of food per day. Females have their first young at 5 to 7 years old. They normally give birth to 2 cubs, skipping 3 to 4 years between litters. They can reproduce until almost 30 years of age, but few survive beyond the age of 20. Brown bears make a loud roar when injured, but normally warn other bears and people by huffing, or making chomping or clacking sounds with their teeth. They almost always avoid confrontations with people. In most of their range, brown bears are relatively secure, although habitat losses pose a threat. Chimpanzee. The chimpanzee is an ape of equatorial Africa that, physically and genetically, is the animal most closely related to humans. 2 species of chimpanzee, or chimp, exist, the common chimpanzee and the bonobo, also known as the pygmy chimpanzee. The common chimp is found in dense jungle and more open wooded savanna from Sierra Leone and Guinea on the Atlantic Ocean to the lakes Tanganyika and Victoria in east-central Africa. The bonobo is found only in a small region of thick jungle in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. Both species of chimpanzee are listed as endangered species in the wild by the World Conservation Union. Chimpanzees, pan-troglodytes, are known as intelligent communicators and problem solvers. They prepare and use a wide variety of tools such as long, peeled digging sticks, grass stems, sponges, and rags. They may use these tools for enlarging the holes of insect dens, pulling termites or ants out of their nest mounds, or smashing the harder shelled of the 20 kinds of fruit they often eat in a day. Males also use sticks and rocks in their charging displays. Chimpanzees differ from human beings by only 1% of their genetic material, making them our closest relative. The highly intelligent and gregarious chimpanzee lives in the tropical rainforests of equatorial Africa. Although these primates spend much of their time in trees where they forage for fruits, nuts, and leaves, they are also active on the ground. In their research, Jane Goodall and other scientists have discovered that chimpanzees use a complex system of communication and maintain an elaborate, hierarchical social structure. Like other apes, chimpanzees are in peril because of the ongoing destruction of tropical rainforests. Bengal tiger. The tiger is the largest member of the cat family and the only cat with striped fur. Perfectly designed predators, tigers possess beauty, grace, and awesome power. Their presence in the wild, revealed by a throaty roar or a track on a dusty trail, electrifies the forest and sends shivers down the spines of all who share its space.
Humans admire tigers as much as they fear them, and the animals figure prominently in Asian myths, religions, arts, and imagination. Tigers were once found throughout the forested regions of tropical and temperate Asia. Excessive hunting and destruction of tiger habitat have now narrowed the tiger's range to a few isolated patches throughout Asia. Many people have organized local and international conservation organizations to prevent tigers from becoming extinct. Among the 36 cat species, tigers are most closely related to lions, leopards, and jaguars. These cats evolved from a common ancestor that was probably similar to modern leopards or jaguars and lived more than 5 million years ago. The earliest fossils clearly identified as those of tigers are about 2 million years old. These fossils were found in Central Asia, Eastern and Northern China, Siberia, Japan, Sumatra, and Java. Based on fossils dating from 300,000 to 10,000 years ago, some scientists think that tigers may have ranged into present-day Alaska via the Bering Land Bridge that once joined Alaska and Siberia during the last glaciation in the Pleistocene epoch. Other scientists believe that the big cat fossils found in Alaska all belong to lions. Scientists use a variety of methods to study the behavior of tigers and track their movements. Radio tracking was first used to track tigers in Nepal in 1973. In this method, a collar with an attached radio transmitter is placed around the neck of a tiger. Scientists monitor the radio transmissions as the tiger travels, tracking the tiger's whereabouts to learn about its range, life history, and behaviors. More recently, scientists have set up camera traps that are triggered by an infrared beam. When a tiger crosses the infrared beam, the camera snaps a shot of the tiger, recording the date and time the photograph was taken. The tiger's unique stripes help identify the animal, and when the same animal triggers other camera traps, the photo archives enable scientists to gather information about the tiger's movements. This method helps scientists estimate tiger numbers in the wild. Snow leopard. The snow leopard, also known as ounce, is a large mammal of the cat family which is found in the mountains of Central Asia. The animal's range extends from 2,700 to 6,000 meters in the summer, when the animals it eats migrate upward to graze on new grass. It has a thick layer of soft underfur covered by thick, long hair. The beautiful coat is pale gray, with black rosettes and small spots and a black streak along the spine. The underparts are whitish. The body length is about 1 to 1.3 meters and the tail length is 0.8 to 1 meter. The animal is mainly nocturnal, and there are usually 2 to 3 cubs in a litter. Snow leopards have been overhunted for their fur and are now endangered. Red panda. Red panda is the common name for a raccoon-like animal, similar in size to a large cat, with thick, reddish-brown fur. The red panda has pointed ears, stout limbs, and plantigrade feet with partly retractile claws and woolly soles. Like the gen panda, the red panda has a sixth digit near the wrist that aids the animal in eating. The long, bushy tail has rings of red and yellow. Red pandas are found on steep mountains in western China and in the Tibetan Himalayas. They live in pairs and small groups in bamboo forests, on which they feed. They are nocturnal, sleeping in trees during the day. Breeding takes place from January to March, and the young are born 3 to 5 months later. The litter may include 1 to 4, but most commonly 2, offspring. In the past, the red panda has been classified in the raccoon family and the bear family. More recently, some scientists place the red panda in the family Iluridae, which is separate from both the raccoon and bear families. African elephant. The elephant is a huge mammal characterized by a long muscular snout and 2 long, curved tusks. Highly intelligent and strong, elephants are the largest land animals and are among the longest lived, with lifespans of 60 years or more. Healthy, full-grown elephants have no natural enemies other than humans. Over the past 40 million years, more than 600 species of elephants have roamed the earth. Today only 3 species are alive: the African elephant, the Asian elephant, and the African forest elephant. Climate fluctuations over the millennia and resulting vegetation changes caused the extinction of many elephant species, but human impact has also taken its toll. At the turn of the 20th century, elephants numbered from 5 million to 10 million, but widespread hunting and habitat destruction reduced their numbers to an estimated 640,000 by the end of the century. Present-day efforts to save elephants may be inadequate, and biologists are unsure if elephants as a species will survive. African elephants live in grassy regions south of the Sahara Desert. Dark gray in color, bull elephants stand about 11 feet tall and weigh about 5.4 metric tons, while cow elephants stand 2.8 feet tall and weigh about 3.6 metric tons. They have no sweat glands, so they like to cool off by rolling in ponds and streams. The mud that dries on their skin protects it from the sun. Throughout history, people have prized elephants for their great size and strength. On the battlefield, soldiers astride elephants have trampled and terrified enemies. Elephants also have been trained to carry heavy supplies through jungles and to haul huge logs from the forests where they once lived. Elephants have long been revered and honored, and in Thailand, India, and other Southeast Asian countries, beautifully decorated elephants still play a significant role in traditional religious ceremonies. According to Buddhist tradition, the Buddha chose the form of a white elephant as one of his many earthly incarnations, and the rare appearance of a white elephant is still heralded as a manifestation of the gods. Mountain gorilla. The mountain gorilla is one of 3 recognized geographically distinct gorillas, the largest, rarest, and most powerful anthropoid ape. Gorillas inhabit the forests of equatorial Africa from the western lowlands near the Cameroon coast to an altitude of about 3,000 meters in the central highlands of Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda. 3 geographically distinct types are recognized: the western lowland gorilla, the eastern lowland gorilla, and the more densely coated mountain gorilla. Giant panda. Giant panda is the common name for a bear found in provinces of western China. The giant panda resembles other bears in general appearance, with the exception of the black patches over its eyes, ears, and legs and the black band across its shoulders. Giant pandas live in bamboo forests at high elevations and feed primarily on bamboo. Unlike other bears, they vocalize by bleating rather than roaring. Females weigh about 80 kilograms, and males weigh about 100 kilograms. The giant panda's so-called 6th front toe is not a digit or claw but an enlarged wrist bone that functions as a thumb in grasping food. Giant pandas feed almost exclusively on bamboo, which is not highly nutritious. Furthermore, some bamboo species flower simultaneously and die shortly afterward, occasionally leading to starvation among giant panda populations. If their usual food supply is threatened, giant pandas may feed on gardens, crops, and even chickens, but they are little threat to people except in close encounters. The habitats of family groups and the survival of juvenile giant pandas are still poorly understood. Giant pandas seem to have no permanent den and do not hibernate, although they shelter in the winter in dens or hollow trees. Giant pandas are fairly solitary most of the year. Females may live in loose groups within the range of a dominant male. Breeding takes place from March to May, and the young are born 3 to 6 months later weighing only 85 to 140 grams. 2 cubs may be born, but only one survives. The young cry loudly for help and require great care from the mothers, and losses of young are a serious problem in the recovery and management of giant panda populations. The giant panda's broken range has created 6 isolated populations. The total number of giant pandas in the wild is now about 1,000. Because giant pandas are restricted to a small area of western China, their status may be the most precarious of all the species of bears. World interest and research funds from many nations have improved the giant panda status, but the species remains vulnerable to humans.